I regret very much the attachment to this bill of what I consider to be, in all prospects, a press law. We have had an organisation hacked off which seems to have taken over both the Liberal Democrat and the Labour Party positions on this issue. And the Deputy Leader of the Labour Party earlier, when responding to an apparent allegation that the Labour Party was the political wing of Hacked Off, didn't deny it, but merely gave great congratulations to Hacked Off for what they had achieved. I am concerned that what Hacked Off has achieved is to allied two different groups of people, the genuine victims of the press, for instance, the Dowler family, with a group of celebrities who would like to engage with the press on their own terms. And I fear what is coming out of today will benefit that latter group at least as much as the former. Some of the older members of the House may recall the days of the Industrial Relations Court in the early 1970s. And when trade unions did not cooperate with that body, it failed in its objectives. That could, and I hope will, also happen to the Royal Charter with its statutory underpinning, which we are pushing through today. Now, the problem with this Royal Charter is, in many ways, it's worse than the statute because we can't actually scrutinise it. It's ministers and its senior people in the opposition meeting behind closed door to cook up these instructions to the press, and there's next to no scrutiny in this House. For instance, we have Clause 11.7. I'll just take one of this Royal Charter. The Board shall have the right to request further reasonable sums from the Exchequer. In response to such a request, the Exchequer shall grant such sums to the recognition panel as it considers necessary. Seems to me to at least arguably imply disbursement of public funds without scrutiny by this House. We then go on in this Royal Charter to an area that really does concern me. In Schedule 3 at 11, it says the Board shall have the power, but not necessarily the duty, whatever that means, to hear complaints, from a third party seeking to ensure accuracy of published information. It then goes on that although remedies are essentially about correcting the record for individuals, the power to direct a correction and an apology must apply equally in relation to matters of fact where there's no single identifiable individual who's been affected. So instead of having the interplay of ideas with different journalists, different individuals competing to have their material published and heard in the public sphere, there will instead be a regulator that determines the meaning of truth, a ministry of truth, if you like. And what will happen is people will have to submit to this. And if they don't, there will be exemplary damages, or they'll have to pay the costs of anyone who wants to take a case against them, however ill-founded that case may be. So I think where we are going with this Royal Charter is not the right place and is not where we should be heading. It is also extraordinarily unclear in terms of how it applies within the blogosphere to the web. It's almost, when you look at the definition of relevant publisher, it's almost like one particular blog, that of Guido Fawkes, has been singled out to try and make sure it is caught by the terms of this charter. And then when we look at the statutory underpinning in new Schedule 5 at paragraph 6, public bodies are exempted. And reading the definition of a public body, apparently it means a person or body whose functions are of public nature. So I'm hoping that my blog will be exempt and I will not have to answer to the Home Secretary for any transgressions I may make within that sphere. But the final issue I think we have in considering this today is where on earth will it go next? We are setting this up without really any idea of the final destination. One of the things we failed to consider in the debate today is the new clause, the excellent new clause raised by my honourable friend for Isha and Walton. And we heard the Home Secretary refer to the respect with which she holds him. Judging by the letter that she put out earlier today, he's going to cause the releasing on bail and the non-deportation of 4,000 people per year. The fact that his advice has been signed off by 3 eminent QCs and the record of the Home Secretary's officials, and particularly lawyers in this area, is, to put it at its mildest, less than stellar. We weren't told about that. And we hear yet again from the Home Secretary about these supposed binding Rule 39 injunctions, when actually we saw in the Abu Hamza case, all they are indications to the government as to that court's view according to its rules as to what might be the interest of justice. It is not binding on the court, and it is the Home Secretary who is deciding that these people will not be deported. It's as if she hasn't even read the second leg of Article 8, that she is able to interfere in the operation of this right to a private life in the interest of national security, public safety, prevention of crime. What else could be covered by a rule saying you can't consider this when the crime has been so serious that the foreign national has been imprisoned for over a year? Those people should be sent back. If we passed the Honourable Member for East and Walton's clause today, they would be sent back because it's been timed out and because the Home Secretary is not prepared to take on those far better ideas that are coming from that member. Unfortunately, it's going to continue.